Hey everyone, I'm Jessica Kramer with MRC-TV. Today we're speaking with Zack Smith, a legal scholar over at the Heritage Foundation, who's here to provide a little insight into the abortion law in Texas and what it might mean for the future of the pro-life movement. Zack, thank you so much for being with us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me on.
So Texas recently passed a law that bans most abortions after 6 weeks when a baby's heartbeat is detected. It's certainly a victory and will save many lives of the unborn. But this law isn't directly challenging the question of when life begins or a woman's right to an abortion. So why is the left acting like this bans abortion outright?
Well, look, and I think one of the most important things to recognize, we've heard a lot this past week that the Supreme Court declined to require judges to stop enforcing the law, to prevent it from going into effect. But I think we have to recognize the unique way this came to the Supreme Court and some unique procedural aspects in the Texas law. One of the core tenets of, federal court's jurisdiction is that they cannot issue an order against someone who's not a party. And so what the plaintiffs in this case were doing, they were asking for a very broad injunction. They were asking the Supreme Court to effectively issue orders against individuals who aren't even parties to the case, not to enforce the law. And I think the majority of justices on the court correctly recognize there are unique procedural issues here that even if they were to do everything the plaintiffs in this case asked, they couldn't grant effective relief. And so I think, the 5 justices who voted in the majority this past week deserve a lot of credit for correctly recognizing the unique procedural aspects to this case. Now, this case can go forward and be litigated on the merits, but for now, as you know, it's currently in effect in the state of Texas.
So speaking of, Justice Roberts sided with the left wing of the court. What is up with that, and what is the left's next move in trying to stop this?
Well, I was really disappointed to see that. Justice Roberts, in his dissent, even recognized that the majority may be correct on the merits of the procedural question, which is kind of a stunning admission. He admits that the majority of justices may be correct on the merits, but he went ahead and dissented anyway. In his view, this was an unprecedented law, and it essentially called for unprecedented action by the court, which I think is just wrong and sets a very troubling precedent. And so, I'm hopeful that when this case or other cases come to the court on the merits, that Justice Roberts will, review the law, apply the law as it's written, and not take into account any other considerations. There is a very big abortion-related case on the court's docket for this upcoming term, the Dobbs case out of Mississippi. And so I'm hopeful that the Chief Justice will review that case on the merits and reach the correct result.
Yeah, I'd like to ask you about that actually at the end of our interview. One question, in imagining a future post-Roe, do you think that there should be any laws holding men responsible in taking care of women and the children that they conceive?
Well, I think currently, if Roe v. Wade were to be altered or overturned, it would essentially become a state's choice at that point of how and when and if to regulate abortions in their states. And so along with that, there are currently laws on the books, providing for child support. Parents have to provide child support. They have to provide different types of support to children. And so I suspect those would continue to be enforced and continue to be on the books in virtually every state in the nation.
Okay. Press Secretary Jen Psaki refused to directly answer a question on President Biden's Catholicism and abortion stance, and instead went off on the Mail reporter, telling him, quote, he's never faced those choices.
I know you've never faced those choices, nor have you ever been pregnant, but for women out there who have faced those choices, this is an incredibly difficult thing. The president believes their rights should be respected.
But I thought men could get pregnant too. So how exactly is the left going to be able to reconcile their wanting to keep abortion a topic that only women can talk about while also propagating that men can also be birthing persons?
Well, there certainly seems to be some cognitive dissonance there in that response, to say the least. But legally, if you look at it from a legal perspective, I think it should be fairly uncontroversial. Many, not all, but many legal scholars who have looked at Roe v. Wade and Planned Parenthood v. Casey, which are the two Supreme Court cases that kind of created this constitutional right to an abortion out of whole cloth, have said that they're really unmoored from the text or the structure of the Constitution. And this isn't just conservative legal scholars and judges who have said this. Even the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who was very pro-choice, very aggressively supported abortion rights for women. Even she candidly admitted that Roe v. Wade was on very narrow and shallow constitutional footing. And so whether you're a man, a woman, regardless, the legal issues remain the same. And Roe v. Wade and Planned Parenthood v. Casey just are not good constitutional decisions.
Ohio Senate candidate J.D. Vance on Twitter is now calling for all red states to pass laws like these. Do you think we'll see a red wave of states being successful in passing similar legislation?
Well, I think many states will certainly consider taking similar action. I know leaders in Florida and the Florida legislature have said they will consider implementing a similar law when they convene again in their next legislative session. But I think a lot will depend on what happens with the court's decision on the merits in the Dobbs case out of Mississippi. If there's one case to watch this upcoming term, the Dobbs case is certainly it.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, speaking of the Mississippi Supreme Court case coming up this fall, what are the chances of this actually overturning Roe v. Wade?
Well, it's hard to say. A lot will depend on what the Chief Justice does, what Justice Kavanaugh does. But really, constitutionally speaking, it really shouldn't be a close call at all. And so I'm hopeful that the court will review the case on the merits and that they will recognize Roe v. Wade, Planned Parenthood v. Casey, just are not constitutionally sound decisions and will reach the appropriate result in the Dobbs case.
We can hope. Thank you so much for your expertise on this matter.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you.